After years of American dominance, Afghanistan is finally taking a stand? The legendary Bagram Airbase, once the heart of U.S. military power, is now at the center of a growing storm. Why is Kabul challenging Washington, and what secrets still lie hidden beneath Bagram's runways? Stay tuned. This story will shock you. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we dive deep into one of the most intense geopolitical stories unfolding in real time. The battle over Bagram Airbase, the once all-powerful symbol of U.S. dominance in Afghanistan. After years of silence, Afghanistan has finally raised its voice, demanding full control and accountability over the base that witnessed 2 decades of war, secret missions, and unspoken deals. When the United States withdrew in 2021, it left behind more than just buildings and equipment. It left behind a legacy of power, fear, and untold stories. Now, with new political energy in Kabul, the Afghan leadership is questioning what was truly done at Bagram and why the U.S. continues to maintain quiet influence in the region. Sources claim that American defense contractors and intelligence assets still operate nearby, sparking debates on whether Washington ever truly left. Meanwhile, Afghan officials insist that their sovereignty must be respected. In today's episode, we'll uncover the truth behind this power struggle, explore Afghanistan's rising assertiveness, and understand why the U.S. fears losing strategic control of this vital location. Get ready. The facts, the politics, and the drama will leave you stunned. Bagram Airbase wasn't just another military installation. It was the nerve center of America's war in Afghanistan. Built by the Soviets in the 1950s and later expanded by the U.S., Bagram became a fortress of unmatched power. During the height of the U.S.-led war, over 40,000 troops operated from this single location, making it the largest and most secure airbase in the region. For 2 decades, Bagram symbolized American strength. Drone operations, airstrikes, and secret missions all originated here. It also served as a notorious detention facility where alleged terrorists were interrogated, often under controversial circumstances. The base was equipped with advanced surveillance systems, underground bunkers, and state-of-the-art aircraft hangars. But when the U.S. abruptly pulled out in 2021, the withdrawal from Bagram was described as chaotic. Afghan forces discovered unexplained equipment, abandoned aircraft, and evidence of covert activity. The sudden exit shocked both allies and adversaries. Today, as Afghanistan rebuilds and seeks to redefine its independence, Bagram stands as a haunting reminder, both of foreign control and the country's fight for self-determination. The question now is, will the U.S. ever let go of its influence there, or is Bagram still part of Washington's hidden strategy in Central Asia? In 2025, Afghanistan's tone toward Washington changed dramatically. No longer content to play a passive role, Afghan leaders began to openly challenge the U.S. narrative surrounding Bagram. President and defense officials publicly stated that Bagram belongs fully to the Afghan nation, a statement that sent shockwaves through diplomatic circles. Behind closed doors, Kabul demanded transparency about U.S. activities during the final withdrawal. Were biological or surveillance labs operated there? Were intelligence systems secretly left behind? These questions are creating global curiosity, and Washington isn't answering clearly. Afghanistan's new government believes that true sovereignty cannot exist while foreign interests continue to influence its military infrastructure. This is why Afghan military engineers are now conducting a full-scale audit of the base, examining tunnels, hangars, and command centers to uncover what was left behind. Meanwhile, local reports claim that several foreign technicians were recently spotted near Bagram, allegedly under U.S. contracts. Whether that's true or not, the optics are powerful. Afghanistan is finally pushing back. This newfound confidence marks a turning point, a shift from dependency to defiance. The message from Kabul is simple: the era of silent submission is over. But will the U.S. accept that, or retaliate behind the scenes? Washington's reaction to Afghanistan's assertiveness has been cautious, yet strategic. Officially, the U.S. claims that its role in Bagram ended the day troops withdrew, but sources inside the Pentagon suggest a more complex reality. Intelligence networks, drone capabilities, and satellite links tied to Bagram may still be active. U.S. officials argue that maintaining limited intelligence presence in the region is essential to counter terrorism threats from ISIS-K and other extremist groups. However, Afghan authorities reject this justification, calling it a veil for continued U.S. interference. American diplomats, meanwhile, are attempting to balance pressure and persuasion. Behind the scenes, there are reports of quiet negotiations, aid packages, and security deals being discussed to keep relations stable. But Afghanistan's tone remains firm: no foreign control, no secret operations, no hidden agendas. Some analysts believe Washington underestimated how quickly Kabul would reclaim its voice. Others warn that pushing back too hard could destabilize regional partnerships. The U.S. may soon have to choose between maintaining influence or respecting Afghan sovereignty, a choice that could redefine its role in Central Asia for years to come. Why is Bagram so important? The answer lies in its location. Sitting just north of Kabul, surrounded by mountain ranges, it's a perfect strategic hub, connecting Central Asia, South Asia, and the Middle East. For the U.S., Bagram served as the launchpad for military and intelligence operations across multiple borders. Its long runways could handle the heaviest bombers, while underground facilities reportedly supported cyber and surveillance missions. Losing Bagram meant losing a critical eye in the region. For Afghanistan, however, Bagram represents more than a military base. It's a symbol of independence. Reclaiming it fully isn't just about territory, it's about rewriting history. Afghan leaders see it as proof that their nation can stand without foreign control. Regional powers, including China, Iran, and Russia, are closely watching. Each knows that whoever controls Bagram controls a vital gateway into the heart of Asia. And that's what makes this battle so much bigger than one airbase. It's about influence, alliances, and the next phase of global power competition. The world is watching as Afghanistan takes center stage, this time not as a battlefield, but as a power player. The global response to Afghanistan's defiance has been mixed. Neighboring countries like China and Iran quietly support Afghanistan's sovereignty push, viewing it as a chance to weaken American presence in the region. China, through its Belt and Road Initiative, even hinted at potential infrastructure investments near Bagram, if U.S. interference ends. On the other hand, NATO allies are uneasy. Britain, Germany, and France worry that a completely independent Afghan military could open the door to new alliances that challenge Western interests. Russia, meanwhile, sees opportunity. Moscow's diplomats recently met Afghan officials to discuss regional security coordination, a move interpreted as a signal that the Kremlin wants to fill the power vacuum left by Washington. International media outlets have also reignited discussions about U.S. war accountability. What really happened in those secret facilities at Bagram? Were experiments or surveillance projects ever conducted there? The narrative is shifting, and the U.S. faces growing calls for transparency. Afghanistan's firm position has turned it from a former battlefield into a new diplomatic force. The once war-torn nation now dictates the headlines, while global powers compete for influence in its skies and soil. Within Afghanistan, the public's reaction has been overwhelmingly nationalistic. For many Afghans, seeing their government challenge the U.S. is a moment of pride. Bagram, once a symbol of foreign occupation, is now being celebrated as a national asset. Local media report that families living near the airbase are finally being allowed to enter areas that were once off limits for 20 years. Farmers and small businesses are returning to lands once fenced off by the military. However, not everyone is optimistic. Some citizens fear that opposing the U.S. could lead to sanctions or political isolation. Afghan journalists and intellectuals warn that while sovereignty is essential, diplomacy must remain balanced. Yet, despite mixed feelings, there's one clear message across Afghan streets: this is our land, our base, our future. For a nation that has endured occupation after occupation, reclaiming Bagram feels like a moral victory. Across Kabul, murals and posters declaring, "Bagram is Afghanistan," have appeared, marking a new chapter of self-confidence. The Afghan people are no longer silent spectators of global politics. They are reclaiming their story. Perhaps the most intriguing part of the Bagram story lies beneath the surface. Literally, reports have emerged suggesting that hidden tunnels, vaults, and intelligence centers may still exist underground, left untouched since the U.S. withdrawal. Some Afghan engineers claim they've discovered sealed areas that contain abandoned tech systems and encrypted equipment. Others speculate that classified American operations, including biometric surveillance of millions of Afghans, originated from this base. While the U.S. denies leaving any sensitive material behind, questions persist. Why were certain sections welded shut? Why was the withdrawal done in darkness, without informing Afghan forces until the last minute? These mysteries fuel Afghanistan's push for full access and transparency. For Kabul, it's not just about reclaiming land. It's about uncovering what was truly happening inside the walls of the most secretive base in Asia. If any classified data, weapons, or evidence remain hidden, it could trigger a global diplomatic storm and redefine how the world views America's withdrawal. Afghanistan has announced plans to transform Bagram into a national military hub and economic center. Defense officials envision it as a joint civilian-military complex, complete with an international airport, research centers, and training academies. This move is both practical and symbolic. By turning a former war base into a national asset, Afghanistan aims to erase its image as a battleground and replace it with progress. Some international investors have already expressed interest, though Washington's reaction remains uncertain. If Kabul succeeds, Bagram could become a model of post-war transformation, proof that even the darkest places can give birth to new beginnings. But the U.S. may still seek ways to maintain indirect influence, whether through intelligence networks or regional partnerships. Ultimately, the next chapter of Bagram will decide more than just who owns the base. It will determine whether Afghanistan truly breaks free from its past or remains tethered to the invisible strings of superpower politics. The battle for Bagram is far from over. What began as a quiet withdrawal has evolved into a full-scale diplomatic showdown. A clash of sovereignty, secrets, and power. Afghanistan's bold stand is reshaping its image on the world stage, proving that even after decades of war its spirit remains unbroken. As the U.S. faces pressure to explain its actions and intentions, the world watches a new era unfold, one where Afghanistan is not a victim, but a voice. Whether Bagram becomes a symbol of independence or another pawn in global politics will depend on how both nations move forward. But one thing is certain, the old order is gone. A new Afghanistan is rising and Bagram is at its heart. If you found this story as powerful as we did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth analyses on global politics and hidden stories the mainstream media won't tell you. Turn on the notification bell, because the truth deserves to be heard.